Now I'm Danny Laurel. Let's take a quick look at the equity space, kicking off with the S&P 500 overnight down by 1.2%. That wiped the previous day's gains on some job concerns over in the United States. You've also got Hong Kong here, the Hang Seng Index up by 0.8%. Indicating a further rally on the hopes of reopening their economy. And next week we will be seeing quite some economic data over in China, which has been opening quite shakily this morning. That's on the concerns of economic data coming out for the next week here, highlighting what had happened to them when they reopened the economy abruptly and ended those COVID restrictions. You've also got over in Tokyo, inflation likely to set a record high for the capital. You've also got India's core inflation likely to be inching upwards, should be peaking at one moment, but nevertheless, it's not just the Philippines inflation story here, but also the rest of Asia. Now let's take a peek at how we are opening this Friday morning, last day of trade. A bit of a pullback this morning, down by 42.32. That's down by 0.6%. Nevertheless, still a good figure here above 6,700 in the first full, well, not necessarily full because we were off on January 2nd, but in the first trading day of 2023, we did enjoy quite a bump up from at least 2022. Now, meanwhile, you've got more developments here in terms of our stock exchange. The Philippines and the Shenzhen stock exchanges will be boosting cooperation. They signed an agreement to strengthen their communication that could help boost investments in both of the markets. So what would that entail? Promoting each stock market to each other, market development, information technology, and initiatives on market connectivity such as cross-border development. Now, of course, we did report the inflation figure for December. That was at 8.1%. That was reported yesterday, and now some bets are going on what's going to be the BSP's course here. You've got Shreya Sodhani, she's an economist over at Barclays, saying that the BSP could be delivering 225 basis point rate increases this year, so that the tightening cycle is not yet over. Another one, this is Tamara Henderson, saying that faster Philippine inflation in December is keeping the pressure on the Bangko Sentral to raise those rates. And on that note, I did want to take a quick peek at two counters here. One, of course, is the financials, which will be directly linked to the interest rate increases here. This morning, it's down by 0.2%. However, you've got two of the biggest banks, Metrobank and BPI, enjoying some gains. Speaking of BPI, that has been in the news as of late. They've committed to reviewing their systems after a double debit incident issue was now resolved on Wednesday. That's what they've said. They've repeated that customers' accounts are safe and secure. And I did want to finally take a quick peek on the property space. Typically when the interest rates go up or are, seen to go up, the property sector does suffer a touch, especially since there will be less people willing to take on loans for development. You could see the property index opening in the red this morning, together with the rest of the index that's down by 0.5%, with only a couple in the green. So we'll be checking back with more stories after the break. Let's keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Dani Laurel. Now, President Bongbong Marcos has secured $22 billion worth of investment pledges from his 3-day state visit in China. These commitments are expected to generate more and more jobs for Filipinos. President Marcos also says he was able to discuss with Chinese President Xi Jinping concerns of harassment of Filipino fishermen working in the disputed waters. This as the two countries signed a deal to establish a communication mechanism for maritime issues.
Will this mean that there will be less or no harassment at all anymore of our Chinese fishermen who are fishing on their natural fishing ground, like, for example, Scarborough Shoal and the like?
The intention, of course, is to minimize all of these quote-unquote incidents. When lines of communication are open at mabilis, makapag-desisyon si President Xi, makapag-desisyon ako agad, palagay ko marami tayong mababawasan dyan sa mga problemang nakikita natin ngayon.
Now, aside from the safety and welfare of Filipino fisher folk, Marcos Jr. says China is open to bring back negotiations for a joint oil and gas exploration in the West Philippine Sea, but the legal matters have to be ironed out.
We have to discuss some of the legal aspects of it. And I think the central issue there is the difference between sovereignty and sovereign rights. And that what we are asking for are sovereign rights. We are not demanding sovereignty over those areas. So that I think is where this is our kumbaga sa it's the wiggle room that we have to negotiate.
The investigation into the New Year's Day airspace shutdown continues. Transportation Chief Jaime Bautista told the chiefs that the Turkish manufacturer of the UPS that malfunctioned is now helping with the probe. So far, he said there are no indications pointing to a possible sabotage.
Hopefully, before the start of the investigation by Congress and Senate, ay makikita na namin yung mga data na to at malalaman natin kung bakit na de-energize yung UPS.
Meanwhile, Bautista said he believes that privatizing NAIA operations may improve its efficiency, citing what happened to the London Heathrow Airport. He noted, though, that such plans should be carefully evaluated.
Yung question yun na pwedeng i-privatize, pwede po dahil ayan sa ating sa tingin ko po we should really evaluate it thoroughly, no? Ako I am not discounting the possibility of having it and making it more efficient.
Google X has created a robot that counts strawberries. Bloomberg Max Chafkin explains how Project Mineral is creating a rover that is helping farmers do more with less. Let's watch this.
The company that brought you Google Glass, the Google self-driving car, some of the craziest science fiction things that you can possibly imagine, is focused on counting strawberries. And here's why. For the last decade or so, Google X has been designed to sort of go for these so-called moonshot projects. Many of these things have not panned out, but there have been a few successes. What's happened over the years is that Google X has gone to being much more pedestrian, but also real businesses. And I think that's where Project Mineral comes in. Mineral is working on a project to basically bring robotics and machine learning and computer vision, but to the world of agriculture. They're building these things called rovers, which are semi-autonomous, remote-controlled robots. When it drives over these crop rows, it's taking pictures, and those pictures are then being fed into these very sophisticated machine learning algorithms. You know, how many strawberries does this plant have? How many leaves does it have? How tall is it? What species is it? And it's trying to use that data to help farmers say, you know, with some certainty, which plants are doing well and which ones aren't. So the end goal here is to create a business that generates revenue, where they are able to sell machine learning and the robotics expertise that they have to agriculture companies. Beyond that, I think the goal is to do farming better, and in particular, to help farmers do more with less. And when you talk to people at X, what they say is, climate change is increasingly a huge part of their work. And you can see the possible impact here. If farmers are able to, develop better plants that can deal with rising temperatures, if they're able to use less water, less fertilizer, that could have a significant climate impact, and it could, allow us to live better lives.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. I'm Danny Laurel. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.